Today on Geek Devotions, we're talking about how Jack the Pumpkin King failed at Christmas. However, he still had a purpose, and reality is, you have a purpose too. Hello, devoted geeks. Welcome to Geek Devotions, the show from devoted geeks who are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. I'm Dallas. I'm so glad that you hit the play button today. If you're new to our channel, we take geek and pop culture items and we use them to let people know that they're loved. So, if you don't watch anything past this moment right here, right now, we just want you to know that you're loved. We care about you. There is hope for you today. So this is the start of Oc-Tim-ber, where all month long we're looking at Tim Burton movies and we're pulling things out of it to let people know that they're loved. So I hope you guys are buckling in and ready for this wild and trippy and a little bit creepy ride. Why we do this? Well, because honestly, Celeste and I like Tim Burton movies. I have been a big fan of Tim Burton since I was a little kid. I remember being a young little dude watching his little short animation called Vincent. Really creepy, but really interesting. I've been fascinated with stop motion animation since then, to be perfectly honest. And today's film that we're looking at, Night Before Christmas, to me is the pinnacle of stop motion animation. It is so beautiful, so well done, musically timed, voice acting is just so on point. It's a gorgeous film. However, we're not talking about stop motion animation. Why? Well, because we talked about it a couple years ago during Geekmas, and so if you want to see what that's all about, check the card in the corner to check out Celeste's episode about stop motion animation and Nightmare Before Christmas. So what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about purpose. If you're unfamiliar with the film, Jack the Pumpkin King is the king of Halloween Town, basically. He's kind of like the most popular figure in Halloween Town, where they spend their year preparing for one particular thing, one particular purpose, and that's Halloween. However, Jack has grown complacent in his position as the Pumpkin King. He's grown complacent with Halloween. He's bored with it, and he's wanting to expand his horizons and discover something new. One day, while walking the woods in a kind of a funk, he stumbles upon an interesting door, shaped like a Christmas tree, and when he falls in, he lands in Christmas land. For the first time in Jack's afterlife, he's discovered something wonderful and magical. He's discovered snow, brightly colored lights. He's discovered Christmas, and he's intrigued. He's legitimately intrigued by what he's discovered, and he has to bring it home. So he does. He comes back to Halloween Town and he goes, guys, check out what I've just found. Now, I don't want to spoil the whole movie for you, for those of you who are going to go see it, but spoiler alert, it doesn't go well. Jack tries doing Christmas in a very Halloween-like style, and it fails. In fact, Santa Claus actually has to show up at the end of the movie to save the day. Why? Because that's what Santa Claus does in just about every Christmas movie. Wait, is this a Christmas movie? Shameless plug, if you want the answer to that question, check out our podcast where we talked about that. So why was it that Jack failed? Why was it that he failed at something that he was really interested in? Like, he had no animosity towards it. He didn't want to ruin Christmas. He enjoyed what it was. So why did he fail at doing Christmas? Well, it's because it wasn't his purpose. It wasn't his wheelhouse. See, Jack was structured. He was designed a very specific way. Everyone in Halloween Town, their mindset was set for a very specific thing, and that was Halloween. They had no concept of what it would really be like to do Christmas, and that's why they failed in the end. Who was better suited for Christmas? Well, the people in Christmas Town, people in that area. Why? Because that's what they're designed for. They would really suck at Halloween. They would be terrible at Halloween. I don't even want to think about all the other holidays that they would do. They would just ruin those things. At this point, some of you guys are going, all right, Dallas, how are you going to turn this around? What is the spiritual application to this? Because that's what we do. How do we use this to let people know we love? Because right now, it sounds like you're being a downer, Dallas. Right now, you're sounding like I can't do squat. Well, this is the deal. I'm going to quote a friend of mine who says this: if you were born, you have a purpose. You, right now, watching this episode on YouTube, maybe it's on Facebook, wherever you're watching it, you have a purpose. God has a plan and purpose for you. He really, really does. Now, you may not fully understand it just yet. You may not be operating what He has for you, but He does have a place for you in the family of God. The Apostle Paul was dealing with this church in Corinth, and they were really struggling. I mean, they had some really deep-seated, messed up stuff happening. And along the lines of things that we're dealing with was how to use the gifts that they had, how to function in what God had for them. And some people felt like they could do everything. Some people felt like they could do nothing. And it became a big mess. So in the 12th chapter of 1 Corinthians, he says this: "For just as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of the body, though many, are one body, so it is with Christ. For in one Spirit we were all baptized into one body, Jews or Greeks, slave or free, and all were made to drink of one Spirit." Paul is reminding the church in Corinth that, hey, there's a lot of moving parts to this thing called the body of Christ, to the church. And everyone is important, but we're all part of the same thing. No one person is more important than the other, but each one has a function. Each one has a responsibility. You yourself, you have a very specific gifting and a way of seeing things, and God needs you to fulfill a very specific task, to fill a very specific role. It may be to encourage somebody, it may be to challenge another, it may be to meet the need of a situation that only you can meet that need. I get it. It can be hard because you're looking at people, you're going, wow, I like what they do. They have something awesome. I want that. And you know what? Sure, they can inspire you to do something really, really cool. But you have to do things in what God has given you and who God has created you to be. Let me give you a great example. This past week, we posted up an interview with the guys from Integrity Motorsports who have this amazing ministry in NASCAR, and they are doing some awesome stuff. My man is like literally, he's like winning championships and ministering to people in the NASCAR community. And that's really awesome. I wouldn't know where to begin. I have no concept of how to race a vehicle. I know to turn left. That's all I got. But beyond that, I simply cannot operate in that world. If I tried, I would probably fail miserably. But what I can do is take the concept of what is he doing? He's reaching to a community that he's at, and he's reaching to them and showing them grace and showing them love. Well, wait a minute. Isn't that what I do here on Geek Devotions? Only using geek culture? Using this medium that I happen to be really good at? Yeah, that's what I'm doing. They inspire me to do this better. Now, again, I'm not going to get a Formula One race car and drive around a track. I'm not going to become a NASCAR driver anytime soon. Really not. But I can be inspired to love you guys even more and to encourage you even more. And that's what we're talking about here. I get it. There's some things out there that you think are really cool. And let those inspire you. And maybe one day God's going to open some doors for you to do some of that kind of stuff. But operate in who God created you to be. Operate in what God's given you. Don't operate outside of who you are and your giftings, because it can get bad sometimes. Some of the biggest issues we see in the church is because some people operate outside their giftings. They operate in things that they weren't meant to be. And sometimes that gets a little edgy, you know what I'm saying? If a dude operates in, let's say a dude's just like one of those really prophetic, real hardline individuals, it's probably not going to be very good at pastoral care. Just saying. So think about these things. Operate what God's given you and let Him grow you as you walk in Him. Question of the day is simply this. I want you guys to leave a comment down below. Let me know about a time that you stepped into something and realized this is what God really called you to do. Something that you can operate in that He's designed you for. All right? Leave comments down below and let us know. I know for me, this right here is one of those things. Geek Devotions is one of those things that God, honestly, I feel like He designed Celeste and I for, because A, we're geeky. I have the technology. I have the knowledge, right? It's just something that I'm good at, sort of. I hope I'm good at it. You guys tell me. If you don't like this, that's fine. But, it's something I have an eye for. So, that's my answer. What's your answer? Leave comments down below. Let us know. Don't forget to check our website, geekdevotions.com, for articles and other kinds of things and article versions of these devotions. Also, don't forget to check out all of our social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just look for Geek Devotions. We're really easy to pop up. And finally, one last thing. I love you. I appreciate you. Okay? Don't forget that. Stay devoted. Peace and love.